royal realms. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like people mistake your kindness for weakness? Like the more understanding and patient you are, the more others try to walk all over you? The most dangerous woman is the one who has mastered the art of restraint. Unknown. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Elise. She was the definition of grace, kind, intelligent, and independent. But no matter how strong she was, people kept underestimating her. They saw her softness and mistook it for submission. They tested her limits, took advantage of her silence, and thought she was just another woman who would bend to their will, until one day Elise snapped. Not in anger, not in recklessness, but in realization. She understood that to protect her peace, to guard her worth, she had to become what people feared, a monster in disguise. A woman who no longer tolerated disrespect. A woman who could smile in your face while seeing straight through your deception. The woman who had the power to destroy, but chose not to unless necessary. Ladies, the world is not kind to a woman who is too soft. If you want to unlock your true power, you must embrace your inner monster. Not in a destructive way, but in a way that makes you untouchable. A woman who doesn't beg for respect, she commands it. Curious? Good. Because today we're diving deep into why Sigma females need to be a monster to unleash their full potential. Stay with me till the end, because what you're about to hear might just change your entire perspective on strength, power, and what it really means to be a Sigma female. Let's begin. Point 1, being too nice invites disrespect. Ladies, let's talk about the fine line between kindness and being a pushover. Society has conditioned women to believe that being endlessly patient and accommodating is a virtue. But in reality, being too nice can be a dangerous game. It signals to the wrong people that you're easy to manipulate. A Sigma female is different. She embodies grace with grit. She's kind, but she refuses to tolerate disrespect. Psychologists call this assertive kindness, a balance between warmth and strength. Studies show that women who confidently set boundaries are perceived as more respected and influential in both personal and professional settings. Think about it. Who commands more respect? The woman who constantly forgives disloyalty, or the one who makes it clear that betrayal comes with consequences? A Sigma female doesn't hesitate to walk away from toxic people. She knows that her time and energy are precious investments, not freebies. Her energy says, I value myself and you should too. And that, ladies, is exactly why people don't just like her. They respect her. Point 2, a monster knows when to strike. The calculated power of a Sigma female isn't driven by impulse. She's driven by intelligence. While others react emotionally to manipulation or betrayal, she remains calm, calculated, and strategic. This isn't weakness. It's a tactical advantage. Psychologists have found that emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in decision-making. The Sigma female embodies this. Instead of lashing out, she observes patterns, detects hidden motives, and waits for the perfect moment. She understands that power isn't in reacting, it's in knowing when to respond. When someone tries to manipulate her, she doesn't argue or seek validation. She lets them believe they're in control until she turns the tables. By the time they realize what's happened, it's already too late. This is the power of a controlled monster. Not one driven by rage, but by precision. The Sigma female doesn't believe in petty revenge. She believes in calculated moves that leave a lasting impact. She doesn't attack blindly. She strikes where it matters most. That's what makes her dangerous. It's not about being ruthless. It's about being unpredictable, unstoppable, and always one step ahead. Point 3, if you don't control the game, someone else will. Life is a game, and too many people are trying to move you like a piece on their board. If you're not paying attention, you might end up as a pawn, sacrificed for someone else's strategy, confined to small, predictable moves. But a Sigma female, she's the queen. She moves freely, strategically, and with society loves to place women into neat little boxes. What to wear, how to act, when to speak. But Sigma females reject those constraints. They don't wait for permission. They set their own rules. Studies in psychology suggest that highly independent women often face resistance because they disrupt traditional power structures. But true leaders don't conform, they redefine the game. And let's be clear, a monster doesn't wait for approval. She doesn't whisper, "Can I?" She declares, "Watch me." History is filled with women who refuse to be pawns. Mary Curie, Amelia Earhart, Rosa Parks. They weren't following someone else's script. They wrote their own. Ladies, it's time to ask yourself, are you making the moves or are you being moved? Because the moment you start playing like a queen, the game will never be the same. Point 4, monsters are feared but also respected. Have you ever noticed that the people who command the most respect aren't necessarily the loudest or the most aggressive? They're the ones who set firm boundaries and enforce them without. Sigma females understand this truth deeply. They know that in a world that often demands women be agreeable and accommodating, standing firm can make them seem too much. But that's precisely why they're untouchable. History and psychology back this up. Studies show that individuals who establish clear personal boundaries experience higher self-esteem and lower stress levels. They don't just hope for respect, they require it. Sigma females don't seek conflict, but they're not afraid of it either. They embrace their inner monster, not to harm, but to protect, because they understand that sometimes a little fear keeps opportunists at bay. Society often romanticizes being loved at all costs, but love without respect is a trap. The question is simple. Would you rather be adored and mistreated or respected and left in peace? Sigma females choose the latter because they know that true strength isn't in pleasing everyone, but in standing their ground. And that, ladies, is why no one dares to walk over them. Point 5, weakness attracts predators. Strength is silent but unmistakable. This is a hard truth. Weakness invites exploitation. In nature, predators don't go after the strongest in the pack. They target the vulnerable, the unsure, the hesitant. The same applies in life, especially for kind-hearted women. Have you ever noticed how manipulators, narcissists, and users seem drawn to gentle, empathetic women? It's not because kindness is a weakness, but because without boundaries, it can be mistaken for one. When a woman lacks the quiet force of self-assurance, she becomes an easy mark for those who thrive on control. But a Sigma female, she operates differently. She doesn't need to prove herself with aggression or loud words. Her presence alone sends a clear message. I know who I am and I will not be played. She embodies quiet power, the kind that makes manipulators uneasy. They sense the steel beneath her softness and realize she's not an easy conquest. Ladies, strength isn't about shouting or proving a point. It's about walking into a room with an aura so undeniable that predators take one look and decide it's not worth the risk. Let them know without saying a word. Point 6, the monster within you is your protector. Society often tells women to be agreeable, self-sacrificing and endlessly accommodating. But the Sigma female, she knows better. She understands that her so-called inner monster isn't a flaw. It's her defense mechanism, her power and her truth. That voice inside her that whispers, I deserve more, isn't selfishness. It's self-respect. The part of her that says, I refuse to tolerate nonsense, isn't cold-hearted. It's clarity. And when she declares, I will not be controlled, she isn't being difficult. She's reclaiming her autonomy. History has shown that powerful women, Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, Marie Curie, were often labeled as too much for refusing to shrink. But power was never meant to be small. A Sigma female doesn't beg for acceptance. She embodies it. People will try to tame her, to mold her into something more digestible. But a true Sigma lets them try, and then reminds them exactly who she is. Not through words, but through action, through boundaries, through an unshakable presence that demands respect without ever asking for it. So to every woman hesitating to unleash her inner strength, remember, choosing yourself isn't cruelty, it's survival. And survival is the mark of a woman who refuses to be caged. Point 7, true power comes from balance. Here's the truth, ladies. Strength isn't about being cold or cruel. It's about control. A true Sigma female understands that power isn't in reckless aggression, but in the ability to wield it wisely. Being a monster doesn't mean being heartless. It means knowing when to be tender and when to be tough, when to listen and when to command. Psychologists call this adaptive intelligence, the ability to adjust your behavior based on the situation. The strongest people aren't the loudest or the most ruthless. They're the ones who know when to strike and when to step back. A Sigma female doesn't seek conflict, but she doesn't shy away from it either. And think of a lioness, she is nurturing, protective, and patient. But when it's time to defend her own, she becomes a force of nature. That's the balance a Sigma female embodies. So stop suppressing your inner power. Refine it, control it. And when life dares to test you, let them see why you're not the one to be underestimated, because a woman who knows her strength, but chooses when to use it, is the most dangerous of all. Point 8. Monsters don't seek validation. A Sigma female's greatest strength is her independence. She doesn't need approval. In a world where validation often comes in the form of likes, compliments, and social status, she stands apart. She operates on an entirely different frequency, one where her self-worth isn't dictated by external opinions. That makes her unstoppable. Why? Because the moment a woman stops seeking validation, she becomes unshakable. She isn't swayed by criticism or praise. Studies in psychology suggest that people who derive their self-esteem from internal sources rather than external validation exhibit greater emotional resilience and confidence. That's exactly what makes a Sigma female so powerful. Her sense of self comes from within, and that makes her dangerous. She can't be manipulated by flattery or coerced through insecurity. She refuses to conform just to be accepted, and that level of self-assurance unsettles those who rely on controlling others. She doesn't shrink herself to fit in. She expands to make space for her true self. At the end of the day, a Sigma female knows the only validation that truly matters is her own. And when a woman lives by that truth, there's no force in the world that can stop her. Ladies, the world doesn't respect weakness. It respects strength cloaked in grace. Your inner monster isn't something to suppress. It's something to harness. It's the part of you that protects, defends, and ensures you walk through this life untouchable. So next time someone tries to test you, don't just smile and take it. Instead, let them see a glimpse of the monster inside, the one that says, "I am kind, but I am not weak." Stay powerful, stay untamed, and most importantly, stay true to your Sigma nature. Now tell me, ladies, are you ready to embrace your monster? Let me know in the comments. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful Sigma female insights. Until next time, stay fearless.